Hello. My name is Lorenzo Nissim. I'm the new president of the Italian buildingSMART chapter, and I'm really proud to give you a warm welcome here in Rome. Thank you for joining here this summit. We will network and work together to bring digitalization in the construction industry to the next step. So thank you very much to be here. We really work hard to organize all this, and I really hope you enjoy. I'm a little bit emotional right now, so I really would like to have my mother next to me, because I always need that.
Okay, I also welcome you all, and you know that is my son, but I also was the former president of IBIMI. So today it's really a dream that became true, and thanks to Richard Petrie that he was a really open-minded person, so he just trusts me. It was only 4 years ago that we became the Italian chapter, and in 4 years we really did a lot. And as always Patrick say, we are a friendship club, but I really think that we are much more, because we are a learning community. And we are really happy to share our knowledge within among friends for the benefit of each of us, but above all of the whole building industry. So I think that today we'll start a long week with meetings, but I am sure that every of us will be back home with a lot of knowledge in their mind, and many good ideas. So again, welcome to Rome. And last sentence, I just want to say that I am proud also because the new president is also my son, but he's really grown so much, and not only in height, but now he knows what BIM is much more than me. That when we started 4 years ago, it was just starting. So again, have a nice meeting, all of you.
Yeah, I would like to...
Okay. And congratulations to the new president.
Thank you. On this topic, I would like to tell a little story about the first time I attended a summit. It was, I think, 6 years ago in Barcelona. And I was buying a ticket, a low-cost ticket, maybe it was 70 euro return ticket. Then I slept in a coach of my friend in Barcelona with a dog near me. And I went to the summit, and I couldn't afford the ticket, so I just entered. I attended few sessions. I really didn't understand anything because I was attending technical room. For me, it was just impossible to understand something. And then the last day, I went to Richard Kelly, telling, in Italy we are this new association. We really believe in openBIM, and we really want to be part of this network. And so he introduced me to Richard Petrie. And again, I told the same story. I was very confident. I was saying, we will be the next Italian chapter, I'm sure. And he was not really believing me, but he was saying, okay, that's interesting. Let's be in touch. Let's talk. So after a few years, now I'm here. I'm the president of the Italian buildingSMART, and I'm really happy to hosting this summit. So what is here the lesson learned? The lesson learned is don't buy the ticket of buildingSMART Summit. Of course, I'm joking, but this is something that I want to tell to my generation, to believe what what you feel, what you want to achieve. And if you believe yourself, and other people will believe in you. You have to be brave to believe in yourself, and you have to be brave to believe in the other people. And on this, Richard Petty was absolutely great. He really believed in us, and we are here thanks to him. So God bless his soul. Thank you very much again. Now I would like to give my testimony to Aidan Mercer. Please, Aidan. Thank you.
Thanks, Lorenzo, and congratulations on the new appointment. And it's been, I have to say, wonderful working with the chapter here to organize this event. And I didn't know about this ticket, so we'll be asking for the money a bit later, if that's okay. Thank you.
But I didn't buy anything. I didn't eat anything.
Okay, you didn't eat. That's fine. You're okay. Well, thank you, everyone. And yeah, welcome to the buildingSMART International Standards Summit for 2023 in Rome. Really delighted that you all made it here. It's a wonderful audience. And hello to those online as well. Don't forget, we've got the hybrid summit here today. And what a fantastic opportunity to connect with everyone in the buildingSMART community. I have a few short slides that I would like to start with, but if you do have any questions, then please don't hesitate to come and ask any of the staff that we have here today as well. That's a miniature. I don't know if it's possible to change the things. I can't read anything there. But yes, so our topic of this summit is delivering a diverse and sustainable future with openBIM. It's very important for us to do that and to deliver against some of these goals that we have. You might have noticed in the email, for example, that we're changing the way our summits are run. So more hybrid opportunities for people to connect, more opportunities to be more sustainable. In fact, any food that is not eaten at this event will be given out to charities in Rome locally. So certainly we'll continue to do things like that as well. I do need to grab something. Do apologize. Yep, so this is the week at a glance that you'll see. We have opening plenary today, as well as the gala dinner that will follow this evening. We have the usual structure at the buildingSMART events with our rooms that will be taking place over 2 days. You will find them at the back here a little bit of a convoluted journey, but once you get used to the journey, I'm sure you'll get used to the route. We also have the Italian conference, which will be happening in here, so please do check out either the rooms or the Italian conference as you see fit. We then have the closing plenary on the Thursday, as usual. Don't forget to download the Hop-In app. This is very important. This is your area where you would connect and look at the agenda and things like that. So please download the Hop-In app. I think you can get it from the App Store or Google Play. If you are looking for any information, sometimes it's caught in your spam, which is the no reply at hopin.com. So please make a note of that. Once you're inside the event app, you'll notice on the left-hand side, you've got your reception, your stages, and your networking. This is a lot for the people online. But also in there, you have ability to connect to people. You'll see under the chat function, you can add to your profile, you can put in your photo, your biography, and things like that. You also have the chance to add to your agenda. So if you'd like to add sessions into your calendar, please do that within the app itself. I would like to acknowledge the sponsors that have also made this happen. So our Platinum event partners, Akka Software, Sierra Soft, and Autodesk. Thank you so much again for your commitment and support. It really is something that helps us to make these events what they are and to make the experience better. So thank you to our Platinum event partners. So I'd like to thank our event sponsors, Dalox, Bexel, Bentley, Esri, Graphisoft, and CSPFEA Engineering Solutions. So thank you all very much to our event sponsors. Thanks to our cocktail sponsors tonight, Bentley and Co-Builder, and coffee. Thank you to Lombardi as well, so we appreciate that. And our logo sponsors, the Open Design Alliance and Catenda, thank you, as well as our media partners that you'll see there. They're giving us some support and visibility to this event. Here's, apologies, I didn't get the photos in time, but here are the staff to ask for help. Obviously, Dan Little here. Is the events manager, and our moderators are Sheila Karailam, Jeffrey Ulett, Laura Tan, Evandro Alfieri, John Proctor and Ra, and Julia and Jody from our IBIMI chapter are also on hand to help. For those coming tonight, I do apologize if you aren't able to make it. We had quite a limited number, but this is the location. Cocktails do start. It's the Palazzo Brancaccio, which is just up from the Colosseum. Cocktails start at 6:30, and we will be seating at 7:30 tonight as well. So dinner will start at 8. So looking forward to that tonight. So with that, I would like to welcome up to the stage our chairman, Patrick MacLeamy. Patrick, thank you very much.
Wow. It's great to see so many old friends, and I've already met some new friends at this summit. It's a fantastic thing that we're doing together. Yes, this is the International Friendship Club. There's a little story I want to tell you about that. This is not the United Nations. The United Nations doesn't work so well. But we do. We do. Yeah, I think that deserves. What we have done here over these years is develop a culture of collaboration that's quite important. So what country someone happens to be from is not so important as getting good work done in a collaborative way. And that's something that maybe the United Nations should learn from us. So I think we're an extraordinary group, and also much better looking than the people in the UN. That was a joke. You know, this is the second summit that we've had in the last 3 years. Of course, we had a pause during COVID with in-person summits, but we continued on virtually. And this is the first event with a new CEO who you'll be hearing from shortly. Clive Billiald is someone that I've come to respect and admire. He's taken over from interim CEO Ian Howell, who took over, of course, from Richard Petrie, our dear friend and leader, who was taken from us so suddenly. You'll hear from Clive after I finish speaking. So hurry up, Patrick. And this summit is going to be a fantastic event. It's a whole mixture of roundtables and working sessions, keynotes, and announcements. Tonight, we'll have a very special, let me back up. We had in December a very special event in London to celebrate Richard Petrie's service to buildingSMART. And as I think all of you know, Richard was a sailor. Here he is with his son. He sailed across the Atlantic twice in the life that he had. He loved adventure and loved buildingSMART. And he is the one, I believe, much more than anyone else in this room, who built the buildingSMART that we enjoy today. He was the first professional that we hired to lead this organization. He started by himself and resulted in, look at these people, look at these chapters, look at the work we're doing. Look how we're gaining attention around the world. Awesome man, a dear friend of most of us that knew him, all of us that knew him, and most of us that just were influenced by him. The team that Richard built has grown to this size to serve our worldwide organization. And I think every single one, or almost every one of these people is here at this summit to serve you. And if you have needs, you can seek any one of these out and they will be glad to help you. You'll also note in the upper left, there's a new face, Clive Billiald, and he's our new CEO, and he's the one that will speak to you next. I'm sure you'll give him your good attention, and I'm sure that by the end of this conference, he will have met as many of you as possible. I think our future is very bright with Clive. So with that.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much. And I'd just like to welcome Clive up to the stage. Clive, you recently joined, previously had held various roles at Bechtel and the UK Ministry, and we're delighted to have you here today.
Thank you very much. Right, well, good morning. Welcome to everyone. I should say buongiorno, benvenuto. I will stop there before I embarrass myself any further, but it's fantastic to have so many of you here today. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, as a newcomer to the organization, I am going to start with just a few acknowledgements, if you don't mind. And, this will be audience participation, a bit of clapping, etc. But firstly, clearly the IBIMI team have put on a brilliant performance here, to get this conference organized and such a fantastic event set up under the leadership of Anna and Lorenzo has been a brilliant effort. So, I'd ask you just to show your appreciation to that team, please. Secondly, clearly our sponsors. We cannot do these events without our sponsors. Aidan just went through, all of those different companies that are contributing to making this a success. But again, I'd ask you to show your appreciation, please. They are so generous with their time and effort. Thank you. And thirdly, taking on a role like this, to use that sort of phrase, it feels like standing on the shoulders of giants. And I'm very, very conscious that I'm following the footsteps here of some very great people. You just heard Patrick talking about Richard. This is his legacy. Actually, how we take this community forward has to be in tribute to that legacy. It's a fantastic, incredible man who created something amazing here. And then you've got Ian Howell, who stepped in really kindly last year and led the organization through a very, very challenging time. And I know the team I inherited is very grateful to Ian for the support he gave them. And likewise to Patrick for helping steer that team last year through a really difficult, troubled time. And Patrick's been our chairman for over 20 years now. Again, this is his vision that we're here today because of. So again, I'd ask you just to recognize and acknowledge a huge contribution of these people. And I guess while we're on a roll with these things, I want to thank you to all of you. You make this community, you are this community. I've been made to feel incredibly welcome since I joined. So, while we're doing this audience interaction, give yourselves a round of applause as well, please. You've been brilliant. Right, I'll stop asking you at that point, but thank you. So, why am I here? Who am I? Well, very briefly, I've come out of the EPC, engineering, procurement, and construction world. I spent about 10 years there. Before that, I was a public servant working in the UK government. But I've been involved in engineering, technology, construction for about 25 years now in various guises. I've been an asset owner, I've been on the delivery side, I've done policy. But actually one of the threads through all of that has been, I've been privileged enough to work in a very international environment. I've worked with the European Union, which is a Brit, I'm quite proud to say, so just to get that one out of there. With a lot of the EU member states, I've had the opportunity to live in Australia, the US a couple of times. And it was one of the attractions of this job, actually, is to involve myself with such a diverse community. Outside of work, well, I've got an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old kid. So to be blunt, most of my time is ferrying them around, looking for missing football boots and shin pads and cuddly toys and everything else. So if I get any free time, you'll probably find me drinking some nice red wine, watching cricket and thinking I really should be out on a mountain bike. And that's about as far as I go these days. But look, why do I want to be here? And the answer is, this is a really, really important cause. What we do, what the construction sector does is effectively it writes the legacy of humanity. It underpins what we achieve as humanity when you think about it. So we pass on the infrastructure, the buildings of the world to our children, our grandchildren. And we know that sector has got some real challenges. It's got sustainability challenges. It's got productivity challenges. But what we do in this room directly goes to those challenges. It directly helps fix those problems. And by extension, what we do in this room directly affects the legacy that humanity leaves for future generations. And to be honest, if that doesn't get you out of bed in the morning for a job, I've no idea what will. But this is a really impressive and a really important cause. And that's why I wanted to be part of your community. So that brings me probably neatly on to why we exist as an organization. You can see up here on the left, written is our purpose. This is enshrined in the articles that underpin buildingSMART International. So maybe a way to think about this is this relationship pyramid, if you will. And if our community is that bottom layer of the pyramid, the enabling layer, then what we produce as our community is those standards, those services, etc. that allow openBIM users to take better decisions. It provides knowledge, it provides efficiency and productivity. And if we get that right at the top of the pyramid, we get the business outcomes, which is economic and environmental. So, I'm going to talk about those three themes, if you will, from the title of today's presentation, diversity, future, and sustainability. But I think they all fall out of this system that we're part of here. So you have that enabling layer. You have the inputs that we then create in terms of our standards and services. You have the outputs that our users produce from that, and you have the business outcomes, which is sustainable, profitable construction, buildings, infrastructure. So it's an important sector we're in. So to drill into this a little bit and talk about how that model works, perhaps. So how do we support the red layer there, the openBIM users, with our services? Well, first of all, we provide standards, IFC being the obvious one. I think most in this room are familiar with that. We provide services which help people make use of those standards. It makes it easier to adopt them and get the most out of them. But we also provide what I would call sort of business process support. So things like software certification. It's about helping businesses and organizations make themselves fit for purpose with openBIM. And then perhaps most importantly, we've got the people side, because actually we have a responsibility to provide trained, qualified, certified people into this system. So we're not just a standards organization. We do all of these things up here. And actually, we probably need to put more effort into 3 and 4, the people, process, the business side of this than we perhaps have in the past. So if I talk about when stuff happens, many of you have contributed to this slide. We'll publish it as part of a roadmap after this conference. And thank you for the feedback we've had on this. So I won't dwell on it, but there are 3 time horizons that we have to operate in as buildingSMART. So first of all, today, we've got some really good standards. They work. They're adopted around the world. They make a big difference. And part of the role of this community is to actually to help more organizations adopt these. And if you do that, you get that consistency of data communication. That's great. That's really important. But we need to think about tomorrow as well. And actually, we're working on some improvements to those standards. We're adding on things like the data dictionary, APIs, that make it easier and more effective to use those standards. And that will give the users that automated connectivity between these applications. But we also need to think about the long-term future. And this is where technology is very different, more distributed systems. Digital twins move from what we have today to a proper ecosystem model. We've got that cyber and physical world coming together. So life is very different in future, technologically. And we need to make sure we're designing our standards now so that by the time that's ready, we've got the products ready to go. So we need to operate in all 3 of these timeframes at the same time as a community. Not everyone will operate in all 3. Each one of those are important on their own, but collectively we've got to deal with all 3 of those. So how? And this is where the diversity piece comes in. We have geographic diversity in this community. We've got 30 chapters now, 30. We've just added India to that list, which is brilliant news, chapter in formation. I'm really hoping we're going to get South America on this very, very soon as well. So we have strength because we actually have ideas and challenge coming from 30 different organizations around the world, and that's brilliant. We have organizational diversity. We have software vendors through to asset owners, designers, etc. Again, that brings strength to this community. And then we've got human diversity in all the rich forms that entails. We've got a really exciting session coming up this morning, which we've entitled Pioneers. These are leaders, inspiring leaders in our industry. And if I step back, we know the construction sector has real challenges when it comes to gender equality. But the fact we've managed to get an all-female panel of these inspiring, pioneering leaders to talk to us later this morning, that should give us real confidence that actually the future's bright in that sense. So almost diversity defines, I think, this community. The only reason what we do is accepted globally is because it's built on all of those diverse inputs and ideas from around the world, from different experiences, different intellects, different thoughts. So it's fundamental to who we are. We can't avoid that. We have to embrace it. And that leads to pictures like this. Now, some of you will have seen this before. I know it's been shown. And it changes each time as new mandates come on stream in terms of governments requiring the use of IFCs and openBIM. The one I'll highlight here is Finland in the top right. So last month, the Finnish government passed a law that requires by 2025 all buildings at the permitting stage to adopt IFC. And that's really good, because if you get them caught at the permitting stage, you've set those programs up through life for success. Some of the contributors, really the architects of that initiative, are in the audience here. We'll hear from some of them later this week. So, congratulations to Finland. That's a huge achievement forward. And, it shows the way for other countries to follow. And I'll finish on just a few little updates in terms of closer to home, some of the sort of steps forward we've taken in the last few months. So first of all, new members. We've got Plenary, ePlan, Hungarian Public Roads, and TMC all join us as members. So congratulations, thank you so much to all of you. I know many of you are represented here today, which is brilliant. We've got a new category of membership, principal membership. It sits between multinational and strategic. Our first member, AASHTO, which is the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, a really important transport organization in the US, is a member. And that's brilliant, represented here today. And we will have another one to sign on the dotted line later today. So we'll announce a second one of our principal members later today. We've got India now as a chapter in formation, really important market for us, hugely influential globally, so that's brilliant news. And we've signed MOUs with Geospatial World, ICIS, and we're revitalizing this collaboration we have with OGC. So again, huge steps forward on a lot of the collaborations with organizations who share our vision for the future. And then closer to home even further, IFC 4.3 is now in the ISO balloting process. That's due to finish on the 15th of May. When that pops out of the system, either we move very quickly to production and adoption and we have a new ISO standard, which would be brilliant, or we'll have a few amendments to make. We'll get through those as fast as we can, any last approvals, and we'll have a new standard. So we are on the path to getting this adopted as a new ISO standard, and that's really exciting. A lot of people in this room who've contributed to that, so thank you very, very much, all of you. That is a very big step forward for us. We've got our first accelerated project. And again, you'll hear more about this later, but this goes back to the chart where I had the 4 different contributions, and number 3 was about business processes. Well, an accelerated project means that we're starting to work directly with asset owners, with organizations in the construction sector, to look at the maturity of their openBIM processes and systems. So we'll help them understand where the strengths and weaknesses are, provide advice as to how to actually then go and plug those gaps. That helps us because actually we are driving adoption across industry, but we also get immediate feedback in terms of how good our standards and services are so that we can make improvements and fine tune. So really exciting stuff this. This is new for us and has huge promise. So very exciting to see. You'll hear from Celine later about practitioner certification. Again, a big step forward to try and boost point 4 of that diagram I showed earlier, the people side. This is really important, and there's some great work and several chapters represented here, as well as the international team. So, thank you to all of you again who've contributed to that. This is exciting stuff. Arthur. Is Arthur in the room? Stand up if you are. I can't see it. There he is. He's waving over there. So Arthur has joined the BSI team as well recently. He's moonlighting doing a PhD, but we've got him for the important bits. And he's our new product manager for our data dictionary. So please grab him during the break. Again, exciting stuff. And it's great to have Arthur as part of the team. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We've got our strategic roadmap coming out. We'll publish that in the next few days, hopefully, or certainly maybe next week. Great contribution from this organization, this community, to that. We haven't answered all of the questions, so we focused on what we're going to do and when. We need to work more with chapters and other bits of the community to work out how we actually get the communications flowing a little better, so we have work to do as well, and we recognize that. But that's a step forward, and we'll publish that as a guidance document as soon as we can. And then lastly, the awards program is open, and that's always important. That's a hugely important component of what we do as an organization, because actually it's capturing best practice, it's sharing best practice. And we're asking the award nominees this year to focus also on actually capturing the value and the business benefit of what we do as a community, because that will help us sell what we do to the wider organizations. So really exciting. So I'm going to close here, but just to leave you with one lasting thought, which is, this is your community. That makes this your summit. It's your sessions. And we've got some really exciting stuff coming up. We've got global leaders in our industry talking to us. We've got that Pioneer session. We've got sessions on digital twins, sustainability. We've got a brilliant game coming up. Just, those of you who are competitive, get involved in that, please. I look forward to seeing that. We've got introductory sessions, we've got masterclasses, we've got the Italian chapter conference, we've got the room sessions. So, please, this is your conference, make the most of it, make your voices heard, get involved, and thank you all so, so much for being here. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Clive, and nicely on time. So yeah, it was brilliantly delivered. So yeah, the next session that we have is a bit different. We took on some feedback from previous summits, particularly in Montreal, and we decided to shake this up a little bit with some new things. So the next session, we'll be hearing from 4 different speakers around 4 short topics. Our first speaker is Susan Keenliside, nicely followed on from the awards program, which many of you may know, but Susan is a senior program manager at the House of Commons in Canada and is also the leader of our awards program. So Susan. Next, yeah.
Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening to our online visitors. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I am going to speak to you about a few of the awards that we saw as winners in our last season. I was asked to speak about what's so special about openBIM, and I think we can all speak to that, but to actually have proof and examples that then we can show our colleagues and our clients also goes quite a bit further to demonstrate this. The other theme here is based on the technical standards. We can also understand that openBIM is a philosophy. I think Patrick has spoke so eloquently to this, to all of us throughout his tenure. So let's look at a couple of examples, not just for technical excellence, but also for business value demonstration, for best-in-class examples, and a look at just what's so special about openBIM. First example is the Chorus Life project. The client, Costim, needed the support of a digital twin. The support of the digital twin was with the vision of a living lab. So this entire community development was predicated on being able to provide a user experience like no other. So the research and development on the digital twin allowed Costim to engage IBM, Minucci Associati, and NGSIS to find a strategy to understand the role played by the openBIM models in the creation of the digital twin for Chorus Life, to maintain the digital twin over time, and to define the asset information requirements for the delivery of the openBIM models for the digital twin. openBIM was the strategic choice for several reasons. First, the model needed to be integrated with many applications. The building management system, the Azure digital twin, the CAFIM, computer-aided facility management program, among others. These systems share part of the information that's contained in the BIM models. And if this information was in proprietary formats, specific integrations and interpreters would have been required, adding to the cost. Second, they had to find an approach that Costim could easily replicate in other projects. A closed approach would have limited this applicability to find other solutions. And finally, they needed a long-term approach, one that would last over time, not just years, but decades. And so relying back on the open published standards was the way to go. Congratulations to this winner from last year. My next example is the Henderson in Hong Kong, 2 Murray Street. central to the heart of the central business district in Hong Kong. 2,880 square meter site, 190 meters tall, grade A office tower, 36 stories with 5 basement floors. Large project. At the time, the land price set a world record. And so there was a lot of focus on how to deliver efficiently and effectively. And one of the choices was to procure full lifecycle openBIM information management approach, so that all technical challenges could be achieved, requiring early involvement among a wide variety of stakeholders, highly specialized in their trade and specialized in their own tools, involving more than 20 openBIM parties and 15 proprietary BIM software. There really was this need to ensure the data interoperability during coordination among such a wide variety of activities and specialists. The success of openBIM, according to this project, not only depends on the management standardization and software tools, which we all know are there, but more importantly on the openBIM mindset, how to bring everyone together, working together collaboratively in an open format. Therefore, they supported 90% of their main contractor BIM personnel to take the buildingSMART professional certification, the foundation certification. They also offered training in openBIM tools extensively to the site engineers and staff so that they could use it day to day in operations. And given this positive feedback, they believe that this approach will always be used on their projects going forward, and it is a great example to the industry in Hong Kong and now around the world. So thank you to that submitter. And my third and last example is the Department for Education Gen Zero project. This is in the UK with Bond Bryan UK. This was a research and development project. They were looking at the design of 2 schools, one urban, one rural, about how they could deliver a new ultra-low carbon building standard to use for the building of future schools. And so Bond Bryan looked at using BIM and best practice information management to fully support this, including carbon assessment and determining the cost uplift for designing these schools. Using the open approach was beneficial to support similar processes across many projects and even improve them over time. It also allowed the client to select the best supply chain irrespective of the tool choices. A significant part of the approach to Gen Zero was subsequently incorporated into the Department for Education's information management resources for the subsequent £7 billion construction framework that was launched late 2021. Of course, like Gen Zero, these resources have been fully aligned to the use of open standards and to allow the best teams to be selected and deliver value across all school projects. They also were able to develop some untested workflows. The team learned how to link specifications effectively to models, how to create a workflow to support carbon analysis, and even explore data visualization using a cloud-based database. Much of the new workflows exploration wasn't even included in the original scope. And this is a key point, because the data set was so well done, it was such an excellent data set, they were able to leverage that and explore these additional items within the cost allowance. So it also allowed the team to explain to other clients of the benefits that can be realized by using open standards and using examples from this R&D project. Talk about having an impact. So thanks for that. So if any of that rings a bell or makes you think, I have a project I'm working on, or I know someone who has a project that's doing really good things, they should be shown off here. Our awards program for this year is now open. The submission period is open. It will be open until May 15th. You can go on the website for the latest information and to access the resources. And you can help demonstrate openBIM, not just as a technical solution, but as a philosophy that can bring competitive advantage, making good business choices, and for an industry that is connected, sustainable, and diverse. The resources available on the webpage, you'll see that you can also review past winners and finalists and special mentions going back to 2018. We use a platform, Awards Force platform, for submitting and for judging. And we do have free access gallery views to all of the finalists that you just need to sign up with a free account and you're in. You can see the galleries. And if you have any questions or any inquiries, we're at awards@buildingsmart.org. Thanks very much for your attention.
Thank you, Susan. Really interesting. And yeah, do encourage you to submit for the awards program. We will, of course, be doing the awards program live at the next summit in Lillestrøm in 6 months' time. So please get your submissions in and hopefully you can join us there. Our next Building Smart Talk session is from Evandro Alfieri, who is our Solutions Accelerator at Building Smart International. And of course, he's an openBIM expert. He's going to be talking a bit about IFC 4.3 and validation. So Evandro, over to you.
Thank you, Aidan. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Buongiorno a tutti. As you can see, I've been practicing my Italian. So the second impulse is on IFC 4.3 and validation, or in simpler terms, IFC 4.3 is coming soon. Well, very soon. You can argue that it's almost here. But to tell you why and how, I need to make a little step back, let's say, to the Roman Empire. Okay, yeah, obvious, okay, expected, don't worry, I'll summarize everything in between. But there is a nice story about that. So the Romans have built 400,000 kilometers of road all across Europe, Middle East, Africa. The very same roads that we use today are literally built on top of those roads. But the fun fact is this one. There is not a single document, not one evidence survived to us that the Romans were keeping track of that. None. Zero evidence. So how comes? How is that possible? So there are different theories about that. I've found an interesting one, which is related to the IFC 4.3 implementation. And I'll share it with you. Yeah. I see where you're going, right? So I'll share with you at the end of these 5 minutes. But first, why is IFC 4.3 coming so soon? Well, mainly for this group of people called IFC Implementers Forum. So for the last 12 months, a group of more than 20 vendors across more than 10 countries gathered weekly, I repeat, weekly, to speed up, fine-tune, and finally release to market their IFC 4.3 implementation. Well, why should you be impressed? Because this is an unprecedented result. Look at this. IFC 4.3 was released as a production standard last March 2022. In less than a year, well before and independently from any ISO parallel process, this group of front runners gathered together to develop their tools to support IFC 4.3. They collected good sample files, they found and fixed issues in the schema, they gathered together to find agreements, they turned them into rules that can be used to automatically validate IFC files, but most importantly, they did this together. They helped each other to resolve implementation challenges. They really helped and benefited from the highly collaborative environment that we created, and they showed the best proof and evidence of healthy competition. And again, this is the first time in IFC history that the standard received so much support well in advance the ISO publication. If you don't believe me, which you can, here is the evidence. In this very summit, tomorrow afternoon to be precise, there will be a role game, a challenge. So for 3 hours, 6 mixed teams of 30 players in total from 7 different organizations globally will gather together and will specify, create, and validate an IFC 4.3 railway model, live, using applications running on their machines. They're going to be supported by this group of vendors, which are providing experts to support the whole challenge. They're going to do IDS, IFC expert, IFC validation, IDS again to check the file, and it will be my absolute favorite session. So do we have any players, any organizers in the room? Raise your hands. Come on, give them a round of applause. Okay, look at them. Yeah. Yeah. Those people, those people are dangerous, to be honest, because they want to turn these type of sessions into the summit. So we literally have to lie in the agenda about the location, so for you not to get in touch with them. But so if you see them in the rooms, just keep out. They're very dangerous people. They're doers. Speaking of doers, back to the Roman Empire. This is the Appia Antica, an authentic, incredibly well-preserved Roman road. It's here in Rome. So if you have some time this week, do yourself a favor, go visit. My message, the reason why I believe the Romans didn't keep track of the roads is that because they were busy building them. So all the focus that I presented today, all the people, the example, the words, the verbs, everything had the focus on the execution. A good friend of mine, I think she's in the room, once told me that the standard is as good as the number of people that use it. Emphasis is on use, not talk, not discuss, not have an opinion on, use it. So that's the key message. A little bit less pondering, more execution, and you will be amazed by the results that we can achieve. But always, only, and unavoidably, thanks to you. Grazie.
Thank you, Evandro. Amazing how much Italian you managed to learn in between. That was great. Brilliant. Well, the next buildingSMART Talks is from Léon van Berlo, who's our technical director at buildingSMART International, and he's going to be talking about a booster between 4 and 5. So, Léon, over to you.
Yes, thank you. So indeed, technical director, so I will use a lot of abbreviation, I promise. At least if we can find the slides. Ah, there they are. Yeah, so the Roman Empire and all roads lead to Rome seems to be a theme. We're probably going to hear that a lot this week. So when I saw the slides from Evandro, who obviously prepared a lot better than I did, as always, I thought this network is indeed so nice. It reminded me of this idea we had 10 years ago. So not all roads lead to Rome. You can also use these roads to go somewhere else, actually, which was the whole purpose of the network. So I saw this network again, where I imagined a lot of these different online services on the digital highways that you can send data to. They calculate something with the data, they consume it, and they send back results. So imagine that you're a designer or an engineer, you're behind your computer, you're making some changes in your model, and then it's been sent over this network of different online services, and within minutes you get a lot of the results back. This is so cool. This is why I get up in the morning, every morning, to make this happen. This goes beyond just data exchange from one tool to another and interoperability and all of these abbreviations. This is my motivation. And I think we're already making steps towards this dream or vision or whatever you want to call it. How far we are exactly, it's a little bit unsure, and it depends on the topic. And I challenge you to find that out this week. There's a lot of sessions on automated scheduling, automated cost calculation, energy simulations, constructability. So there's really a lot of different topics that are part of this dream or vision. And depending on what topic you choose, you will see that we're actually quite far already or still a long way to go. But to make this a reality, to have this design or engineering analysis within minutes integrated, we need more than just one data standard. And this is where all of the other abbreviations come in, I'm sorry, but we need more than just IFC. Because you have this cycle where we define requirements, we create and author the data as a designer or engineer, we use a shared definition of how we are going to exchange the data, then we send it somewhere, that service consumes the data, it sends back some results. So it's a lot more than just IFC. And actually we have a lot more than just IFC. We have these open APIs, we have BCF, we have IDS, we have the bSDD. I'm not gonna give you the explanation of all of these abbreviations, because again, I challenge you this week to learn more about those. So this is indeed the part between IFC 4.3, which is coming sooner than you think, and IFC 5. There is a lot more. We have this strong base of IFC. We have a very strong IFC 4.3, which is indeed very well tested and implemented already. But on top of that, Clive already showed, we have this linking and extendability. We have open APIs, which are extremely important. You don't see too much about that in our community, but they're essential. And at the moment, we are in this phase where bSDD, IDS, and APIs are in this mode of delivering and driving adoption. So as you see, this summit is about all of these other things as well, beyond just IFC 4.3. And after that, we are probably need to start worrying about IFC 5, because this next generation of standards might have APIs integrated as well. This is going to be quite a leap, and I always say, I don't know how big the leap is. Could be very big, could be a little bit smaller. And actually, Greg Schleusner, the next speaker, has a pretty decent understanding of how big that leap is going to be. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Leon. 30 seconds. Well, that's seconds, right? Yeah. I'll wait for my 2 slides, only 2, to come up. While I wait, I'm glad everybody else is using forced analogies, because I'm going to do exactly the same thing, and they both have to do with Rome as well. No roads. But the last time I was here was actually 22 years ago. I was a student. So this is a collage of the work I was doing at the time. So I was an architecture student. I'm an architect by training. I don't do that anymore. But, you know, sort of love of photos of sort of life around Rome, sort of projects. And if you're in Rome long enough, you'll find out there's a cat sanctuary where Caesar got stabbed, and the Argentina is in the name, but I can't remember the name of the piazza at this point. The analogy I'm trying to make is, you'll notice these are actually digital photos. This was 2001, so this is a 2-megapixel digital camera. And I'm making the analogy because this is the discussion we have to have within buildingSMART. So this was an emerging technology, just like Clive mentioned, we have to transform, and Leon and so forth. But what I actually did, when I wanted to take, you know, forever photos, was I took slides. I mean, this is a long time ago. If you don't remember, you had to take pictures. Slides were really hard. I was really happy that I got these exposures. You had to develop them, scan them, and I still have them today, but this is the transition we have to make. So if you can imagine, and if you play the analogy out, IFC today is built on this very solid technology that lasted many years, that was a sort of wonderful way to capture information. What we need to do, though, is not lose any of the richness. So we couldn't have made this transition 5 years ago. But what we're sort of making the step today is moving from this sort of solid technology that lasted many years and move to the equivalent of the digital transition, what's happened in cameras. So if you sort of think about this, this probably took me a week to take the pictures, develop them, and so forth. And doing that transition enabled things like, Patrick always likes this analogy to bring up the phone, where the world's most popular camera is your phone at this point. So this transition is a meaningful one because this is a computer that's portable, distributed, and without making this transition, this couldn't have happened. So it's a very, very simple analogy. IFC 5 is very much work in progress, and we're figuring out what it needs to look like. But this is very much the transition we need to make, and I hope the analogy sticks. Thank you all.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, very interesting. And so we've heard a little bit about IFC 4.3 and some of the current focus around use and adoption, and of course some of the future state, as well as what's valuable about openBIM. So I thought that was really interesting. Thank you very much to those speakers. Now we have a series of presentations. First presentation is from Michelangelo Cianciulli from ACA Software. He is the openBIM and IFC expert. He's also very active in our buildingSMART technical industry, and he'll be talking about transforming BIM to openBIM methods and technologies and examples. So Michelangelo, over to you.
Thank you, Aidan. Hello, hi everyone. Today I would like to talk to you about technologies and innovations. And in particular, I would like to talk to you about radical innovations that are made possible by the use of openBIM. Among the different kind of technological innovations, we can certainly find these two categories. The incremental innovations, which are those continuous improvements to products, processes, or organization, and the radical innovations. Radical innovations are deeper and are significant changes in the technology, business model, or strategy. Now I would like to bring your attention to some particular examples of incremental innovations that some products and services have been developing for years. Let's start from mobile telephony. For years, increasingly high performance design and technologies have been developed, but the basic technology has remained unchanged. I think that this is an example of incremental innovation that many of us have experienced. Also, in the case of internet connection, I think that many of us will remember, the cables, the slow speed connection, and the sound of the old modems. And then gradually, more and more high performing tools and the connection speed. Talking about GPS, in order to get directions on how to reach a place, we went from asking people on the streets to the paper to the digital technology. And also, last but not least, well, there could be some discussions about the evolution of camera designs, but certainly we can agree that some kind of evolution has been done. But now let's ask ourselves, what is that has brought a radical revolution for mobile telephony, internet connection, GPS, and cameras? Well, we have already seen this, but this is it. It's the smartphone. It's an innovation that has integrated different kind of technologies, such as mobile telephony, internet connection, GPS, and cameras. And it is exactly this combination of technologies that has made possible to create this highly versatile and multifunctional device that really, truly has changed the way people communicate, navigate the internet, reach places, take their photos, and much, much more. Now I am quoting Guido Cianciulli here, CEO of Akka Software, who states that it is intelligent integration between existing technologies that often leads to radical innovations, introducing new paradigms into reality from which new systems and order of ideas are developed. And what is, in our case, today, such a smart integration between existing technologies that lead to a radical innovation and a new paradigm into the construction world? Well, it is the total and dynamic integration of GIS and openBIM technologies. The integration between these two technologies shifts the paradigm with which we think about the built world that surrounds us, and really and truly opens up the possibility of creating smart cities and GIS digital twins. This is a totally new world and a true radical innovation like it was in the case of the smartphone. Our proposal, in particular, is completely innovative because the key idea is to create a dynamic connection between the GIS platform and the openBIM platform. This allows, in particular, to avoid the transfer of static data between the platforms that scales quickly, like the very same moment that you request it, but instead allows to have dynamically updated data on the GIS system for the entire duration of the asset's lifecycle. In the examples that will follow, we will have a look at some functionalities about the technological integration between Esri ArcGIS platform and Akka ASBIM platform. Among such functionalities, always backed up by the use of openBIM standards, we will see integration of IFC models up to the latest schema, the 4.3 that we have just seen in a previous presentation. Or rather, I would say even more, also the tunnel extension, so IFC 4.4. So both buildings and infrastructures, but also other functionalities such as asset management, asset operation, facility management, and IoT. Such kind of integration sets no limits, both from a practical and a theoretical point of view, whether it is about the number, complexities, and extension of the displayed models and amount of exchanged data between the platforms, or, and probably most importantly, on the kind of new and innovative ideas that can be built and developed on top of that. So now it's time to have a look at some practical use cases. I hope that you will enjoy the video.
We'll start our presentation with a view of our ASBIM platform. In particular, we can notice one of the possible models proposed in the openBIM format, viewed and managed directly from within the platform. To be honest, what we can see here isn't a single BIM model, but a federation of IFC models. In fact, you can see the architectural, structural, or the plant model too. For each object in each model, I can immediately see the IFC properties with all the relating data. Now, let's take a look at the integration that we've built with ArcGIS. Let's now look at the world of openBIM integrated with GIS technology. Here, as you can see, we are accessing the same data with a geospatial view. In this case, we see the Esri viewer that shows a territorial scale view. But if we zoom and reduce the scale to get right down to the detail of each individual building or infrastructure, we can see the corresponding BIM models, and in particular in openBIM. The technology that ACA is proposing in the GIS and openBIM integration is absolutely innovative. It's not based on a static data import from one system to another, but on a dynamic and two-directional integration of the two systems. All GIS functions and activities are managed by the ArcGIS, while all BIM functions and activities are managed by USBIM. From the territorial view of competence of GIS, I can get to see the architectural, structural, or MEP systems of an openBIM or BIM model, and I can also see the individual object with its IFC properties. I have a total and dynamic integration between all of the powerful features of BIM technology combined with GIS technology. In the GIS view, I can immediately see the 2D and 3D shapes of the overall dimensions of the BIM model of the construction asset, in addition to the model itself. And this is obviously very useful for running spatial queries that I can carry out in the GIS. In fact, all BIM information can be made available to the GIS environment for geospatial queries. Here we now see a territorial scale view with a series of buildings. There are many IFC models integrated into the GIS world, and this makes us understand that this technology doesn't encounter any trouble when integrating large amounts of data. Another very important thing is that this data isn't static, but it updates dynamically in the GIS service based on what is being done with the IFC openBIM model stored in USBIM platform. The BIM data hasn't been copied into the GIS, but is simply the same data used in real time by the platform, and which is responsible, of course, for managing the BIM model. Let's now imagine that we're in the position where we have various other users managing the BIM model during the normal design, construction, or maintenance phases of a construction project, and therefore operating with the GIS for analysis work at a geospatial level. We have two main views: a user on the BIM platform and another user in the GIS scene. Let's do a simple operation on the BIM model management platform and update the federation on the BIM platform by adding another building. The other user working in the GIS scene sees the updated model in the GIS view. All changes and updates made to the BIM model are accessible in real time in the GIS. Everything, both the model's geometric information and its relating data. Let's move to a wider view and activate the GIS layers. We'll continue to operate in GIS, just as we have always done. Now let's move on to another model. This is a shopping mall, and on the openBIM IFC model of the shopping center managed by the USBIM platform, where the specific facility management functions and data are also enabled. From the GIS, let's move once again to the IFC openBIM model. This time we'll see how to investigate, for example, among the different assets of the construction and how to select the various objects of our model. We can immediately see the properties of the individual object, active maintenance tickets, the activities performed on each object. But we can go into even more detail and view the maintenance plans for each asset of the building, together with the checklists to be consulted and used during each intervention. We can see the maintenance works to be carried out on each individual object in great detail. The building and its maintenance data can be viewed in immersive virtual reality or augmented reality to get indications directly in cloud regarding activities to be performed before or during interventions. We can easily understand the amount of data involved in building maintenance tasks that is available to the GIS for territorial queries. So just think about what can happen when so many buildings with their maintenance data are integrated by means of openBIM technologies. Extraordinary and powerful opportunities open up to optimize routes and management costs of intervention teams in order to bring greater value to all property managers and facility companies alike. This brings us to the territorial scale of GIS to the openBIM model of the Naples railway station, composed of 56 federated IFC models. From the GIS view, we can navigate inside the station, select an object and consult all of its technical documentation related to the BIM model. The total and dynamic integration enhances the great potential already inherent in each of the two GIS and BIM technologies. From the geospatial view, I can access different levels of construction details, both in BIM and openBIM, such as, for example, a viaduct. This is a bridge that doesn't show any particular details. In fact, in this case, the digital model is only used for monitoring purposes with live data acquisition from IoT sensors. We can see all of the sensors connected to the digital model and the data being returned in real time, with each sensor connected to the individual object of the model showing specific values. Through the integration between GIS and BIM, I can receive real-time notifications which are triggered by dangerous conditions detected at a territorial level, and go right into the details of the single construction element or the infrastructure that is generating a certain behavior. This means I can access all of the viaducts throughout the entire territory with inspection and monitoring data. Even in this case, I can enter the different buildings or view the infrastructures using a virtual reality viewing experience. Of course, these technologies can turn out to be very useful for remote visits conducted by multiple operators connected in the cloud at the same time and on the same model. In the GIS, I can have all kinds of openBIM IFC models. As you can see in this next example, we have a very complex power plant with all of the different details. The entire built environment, buildings, bridges, roads, railways, and any type of infrastructure is capable of providing detailed data in real time to the GIS system. This means that we can easily query the infrastructure data dynamically and make it available at a territorial level. And what's more is that there's no limit on the complexity, number, and continuous updating of the data. In this example, we can visualize a point cloud of about 50 gigabytes with 2.6 billion points. Here we see a stretch of railway of about 50 kilometers with a point cloud and with the entire associated model. We can select objects and check their properties. This in fact is a 4x3 IFC model. So as we can see here, we have no limit for linear infrastructures. We all know how very often models undergo geometric and information updates as a result of maintenance operations performed on construction assets. At a territorial level, it's essential to have all of that data available, and it's also equally essential that such data is always up to date. To have that data always updated, two very important aspects need to be met. We need to integrate GIS with openBIM and not with traditional BIM workflows using proprietary file formats, so that anyone can share openBIM model data regardless of the software with which that data and the models were produced. We also need to update both geometries and data of openBIM models in a simple and continuous manner. So let's see how this can be achieved using the ArcGIS and USBIM integration in order to always get continuously updated openBIM data in a very simple way on the GIS service. Again, we'll simulate a user working on the BIM model and, on the other side, a user operating with the GIS. With USBIM, the user can modify both the IFC model geometry and data completely online and in a collaborative workflow. When the BIM user selects the object, you see that someone is working on that specific object in GIS and in real time. If you move the object in the BIM environment, you can see those changes dynamically taking place in the GIS. Each and every update in the BIM environment is immediately visible in the GIS environment. So today we need to overcome the incremental innovations that BIM and GIS technologies are respectively proposing in their fields of expertise. The total and dynamic integration between GIS and openBIM workflows allows us to introduce a radical innovation, a new paradigm from which a new system and order of ideas develops in thinking about the world of the built environment and, of course, the unbuilt as well. Digital twins that interact with each other at a territorial level to connect information produced in real time by technicians, construction companies, maintenance workers, but also by the buildings and infrastructures themselves that become real devices capable of interacting with each other at a geospatial level. A revolution that passes through simplicity. GIS users and BIM users both continue to do what they have always been doing in their respective fields of competence. Technologically speaking, everything starts from a simple component that allows you to insert all of the great potential of the IFC and openBIM world in Esri's GIS applications.
Well, if you want to know more details about this technology and this integration, you can scan this QR code. But of course, you can also reach us to the booth number 3 at the ACA stand. So we will be happy to discuss, also go more into the technical details of such revolutionary integration. Because again, the point is that this kind of connection is dynamic. So basically, every update that you do on the model, on the openBIM model, will be reflected on the GIS systems as well. In this case, we have seen an example of an integration between Esri ArcGIS platform and the ACA USBIM platform, but of course, this kind of integration is possible with other systems as well. And I really hope that this has already or will open up your mind on what can be built on kind of new ideas that can be built on top of such technology. Let me introduce myself at last. I am Michelangelo Cianciulli, and I am openBIM and IFC expert at ACA Software. I leave you with my references, and I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelangelo, and very impressive. Certainly opened up your mind as to how we can get this real-time monitoring involved in the work that we're doing. So, thank you for your support from ACA Software as well. Something else that's opened up my mind is I just got a message from one of our board members saying they're watching from the flight on their way over. So incredible how we're able to deliver these things. And so, Jugal, hope you're watching, and thank you. Well, next up, we have a presentation from Mauro Coletto, who's the co-founder and CEO of SierraSoft, and his presentation is titled InfraBIM and openBIM is already here. So, Mauro, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. The presentation will be a technical one, considering the audience. A lot has been said about infrastructure and BIM, focusing mainly on bridges, but we don't see a great deal with regards to road and rail. And what we see usually is of poor quality. A lot is said about the difficulty and criticality in the implementation of BIM in the infrastructure design. And I'm here today to disprove this idea, and I will show you that is not only possible, easy, and fast, but above all, useful. I will demonstrate how the design of road and railways in openBIM give many advantages. Firstly, a few words about myself. My name is Mauro Coletto, co-founder and CEO of Sierrasoft. I've been working in the field of infrastructure and topography software for more than 30 years. At Sierrasoft, I'm involved in technological innovation, software development, and BIM work methodology. Few words about the company. Sierrasoft created and markets BIM software solution for surveying, infrastructure design, and construction industry. Sierrasoft has more than 30 years of experience in this industry. 10 years ago, Sierrasoft decided to rewrite all its software from scratch because the world of construction was changing quickly and radically. It was not easy. Even our own clients didn't understand why we decided to make this radical change. But today, they fully understand and appreciate why we did this. Today, our customers are in a far better position than their competitors. Here are some significant results we would like to share with the infraBIM and openBIM community. We found 7 main errors that impeded a wider adoption of BIM in the openBIM and openBIM in the field of infrastructure. Error 1, incorrect workflow. The use of built-in workflows instead of specific infrastructure workflows. Error 2, inadequate design software. Design and modeling tools were missing key features to support BIM methodology. Error 3, incorrect utilization of human resources. Infrastructure designers were excluded from the BIM process or relegated to a margin role. Error 4, use of proprietary formats, a preference to use proprietary formats and conversion tool for remodeling. Error 5, incorrect use of open formats. And 6, limited use of information exchange. And 7, the last, the idea that the model is more important than the project. The design and project quality is secondary to modeling and the model. So we lost the advantages of BIM in the design phase. BIM was only seen as something imposed from above, useless and costly, when in reality, BIM presents a huge opportunity and many advantages already in the design phase. We wanted the advantage of BIM in the design phase. These advantages are high quality of information models, consistent with design, drawings, and client requirements. Better and direct collaboration, exchange of information useful for co-design, analysis, and construction. Point 3, optimization of cost and resources, control of costs, and the time needed for design and modeling. And point 4, improved design quality, achieve higher quality design compared to traditional design. And the last, point 5, continuous flow of BIM process, avoid lost information and time-consuming tasks between design phases. We developed our own method with 4 key and interconnected elements. We called this method working BIM. The 4 key elements are element 1, interoperability with openBIM. The information exchange is only based on openBIM. And number 2, workflow for infraBIM, a specific workflow for infraBIM and center on the road and railway design. The BIM activities that are part of the road and railway design. And point 4, road and railway design software, the fundamental feature of road and railway design software. About the interoperability, we adopted open formats, 2 formats, IFC, older version, but we prefer 4.3, and LandXML. IFC, it's an all-purpose format, fundamental in design to share information among different professionals and to analyze geometries and data, support design choices, anticipate and correct error in construction. LandXML is easier to read and write. It's very good for land surveying to share information about points, measure, constraint, and triangles. And for road and railways to share information about horizontal and vertical alignments, cross-section and surfaces, and for construction, for machine control. About the workflow, we identify in the workflow 2 coordination centers. All you know about the model coordination. Model coordination center is managed by the BIM coordinator with BIM coordinator tools. But we identify a second, more important coordination center, is the design coordination center, managed by BIM road and railway designer with BIM design software. The road and railway designer receives data, topographic data in LandXML or IFC, and then share the information, the project information with the other designer, bridges, tunnels, etc. And collaborate with them to obtain a consistent design. When the other designer have completed their parts, all the information consistent with each other, the information model are sent to the BIM coordinator for the final check. This is the main difference from building and infrastructure. To support this workflow, you need a specific workflow for road and railway design. In the past, we had a one-at-a-time approach where the road design activities are separate from the information modeling activities. They are separate from the information checking activities. We have 3 different people and probably 3 different softwares. Our approach is different. We adopted another workflow for road design. We adopt all-in-one approach where in a road design activities is included the information model, information exchange, and information checking. At the end, we have 1 person with 1 software. About the activities for road and railway design, we divided the activity of the road designer in 3 groups. The first group is design and geometry modeling. It's the road and railway design and geometry modeling. Remember that the design at the level of the quality and detail of geometry is much higher than in traditional design. And the second activity is verification of standard. Verification of standard is mandatory for design and geometry modeling activities. In the second group, we have information exchange and information checking, information exchange and model federation, interoperability between different design software, and analysis and checking on information models. It's important that this is done during the design stage to reduce the cost. Third group, information modeling and IFC management, that include spatial decomposition of the model and generation of the elements, management of properties of the model elements, and mapping of the entity in IFC. About the software, we identify the fundamental feature of road and railway design software to sustain the workflow and ensure consistent information that are design and the geometry modeling functionality to design of road and railways, plus information modeling and IFC mapping functionality to create and manage structure, elements, geometries, and data, plus information exchange functionality to import and export information models in IFC and the LandXML format. plus information analysis and verification, for example, for class detection, model validation, and model comparison. All our software, Sierrasoft Road, Sierrasoft Rail, Sierrasoft Hydro, have this functionality. Now, example with our software, how our software works. This is a project, a complex project. We have 8 roads, 1 roundabout, 5 intersections, 1 bike line, 2 railways, one high-speed line and 1 existing line, and a drainage system and 2 underpasses. About the design of the road is done in barometric dynamic mode with the definition of horizontal and vertical alignments and typical section of different segments. You have 3 environments, different planimetry, profile, and cross-section. Real-time and repeated checking are performed to bring the road up to standard. In the same environment, you can handle the railway design and drainage system. The information models are obtained automatically from the design, applying the information modeling parameters that define structure, elements, geometries, and data. You can see the model has been, in this case, divided into WBSs, and the WBSs are mapped in FC with a specific classes. And for each WBS, we have the properties. In each WBS, we have a lateral and vertical subdivision. In this case, we have roadside with its FC mapping. In this case, we have substructure and superstructure. About elements and properties, inside a lateral and vertical subdivision, we find the elements. In this case, we have gutter with the FC mapping and the properties previously defined. In this example, we have gutter. Now we have a ditch and side slope, and all elements that you need. We're in course, guardrail. About information exchange with the other, for share information with the other designers, we have example with the underpass. The road designer send the alignments and information model to the underpass designer. The underpass designer does the design and set it back to the road designer in FC format so that he can integrate it into the design. In Sierrasoft Roads, the underpass is imported. Is inserted and georeferenced. Underpass information model become part of project. And you can query the information model and get all the information that you need. And the underpass information model become a support for the road designer. For example, in the longitudinal profile, you can obtain the references from the underpass automatically. In this case, the profile, and the same for the cross-section. About the information analysis and verification, the analysis and verification, in this case, we use on the underpass a class detection in the design phase. The analysis and verification of the model is performed in Sierrasoft Roads in the same phase at the road and underpass design. Problems are identified at the beginning and solved immediately with a significant reduction in time and cost. Reports with critical issue can be shared with the other designer. Sorry, don't. Okay. The method works and has been validated by our customers based on real project. Sorry, don't. Okay. In addition, It has also been validated by Serasoft and the Politecnica Ingegneria ed Architettura within the IFC Road Italy working group in buildingSMART Italy. And the validation results were presented in February at infraBIM Open 2023 in Tampere, Finland. Now, a few examples of real projects and proof showing that it works. We have, I don't know. Okay. The first set of examples are from Bonifica SPA. We have a big project. Is 6 kilometers of high-speed, high-capacity railway line, 314 multidisciplinary models, and more than 130 WBS. It is managed with different software, and they use for the road design and railway design, Serasoft Rail and Serasoft Roads. This is a roads, is a road system in the project for Via dell'Olmo, okay, with different roundabout. The second example is the design of State Road Salaria. It is a redesign of existing intersection between State Road Salaria and the different joining roads with using Serasoft Roads. Okay. The second set of examples are from Net Engineering. We have local road design roundabout with a specific data set defined in Serasoft Roads and managed in design phase. And, okay, the second example is a railway design, is a 20 kilometers of railway line with high quality geometry modeling and a specific data set property defined in Serasoft Rail. The last example from Net Engineering is a design of railway station parking with its access roads and a specific data set. The last set of examples are from Sistra SWS. We have a new railway project in Norway. It's about 14 kilometers of double track railway line, 40 permanent roads, 30 temporary roads with Serasoft Roads, and review and coordination between different disciplines using IFC format inside Serasoft Roads. With Serasoft Roads, you can access all the properties of the imported models. Last example, new tramway project in Italy, about 12 kilometers of double track line, managed with Serasoft Hydro for the hydraulic part, and creation of pipe networks for sharing manholes with Serasoft Hydro. Review and coordination between different disciplines using IFC format inside Serasoft Hydro. With Serasoft Hydro, you can access all the properties of the imported model. In this case, we have another part of the project, the same project, with real-time definition of the alignment of the pipes and verification of the type of pipe and manholes with Serasoft Hydro. And review and coordination between different disciplines using IFC format inside IFC Serasoft Hydro. Okay, conclusion. The Serasoft working BIM method ensures you have all the benefits of BIM early in the design phase that are high quality of information models, better and direct collaboration, optimization of cost and resources, and improved design quality in terms of geometry and data, and continuous flow of the BIM process. You have all the BIM advantages are all in the design phase. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mauro. That's great. Really great use cases there and application of BIM. Very good. So we come to our final session for this opening plenary, and we have a speaker now, Paul Fleming, who's the EMEA AEC lead for Senior Director for Autodesk, and he's going to be talking about Digitize, Connect, Optimize, and Evolve. So, Paul, all over to you. Thanks.
In inglese devi pensare cosa dire, cazzo.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, a massive thank you to buildingSMART. My name is Paul Fleming, and I'm from Autodesk. And I'm delighted to be here today. Patrick, you made a really well thought through statement about being amongst friends. And though this is my first buildingSMART conference, I feel as if I'm amongst friends, amongst like-minded people. So thank you very much. Now, Aidan's warned me, not only did we bring the weather from the UK today, but he said that we've got to get you to your first coffee break, and this is very much Sacramento in Italy. So is everybody okay? Patrick, Anna, Clive, 10, 15 minutes, is that okay with you? Audience, 10, 15 minutes, can we get you to the coffee break then? Okay, good. Well, a little bit about myself. My name is Paul Fleming. I'm from industry. I'm a civil structural engineer by background, having worked in the industry for about 10 years. And about 2001, I decided to move into the world of software and work for a number of software companies. I've been with Autodesk 18 years, and I'm absolutely passionate about the company I work for, more about passionate about the customers that we work with in the built environment. And I want to share that with you today. Some of the projects I worked on, you can see them here as an engineer. I often think back and think about the technology, about imagine running those projects today with better technologies. But here's me. See the little red dot? That's me building some of this technology, using 2D to move into 3D to build these built assets. I look back to all the mistakes we made along the way, and I can only imagine that if we used the technology today, we would have avoided these mistakes on these very complex engineering projects. So, over the last 40 years, the AEC industry has been in transformation. You all know this. This is the life that you're all involved with. We saw the transition from CAD, the drawing table, to CAD in the first phase, brought on by the advancement of PC. As the proliferation of modeling tools became available, we started to see BIM emerge, driven by the BIM mandates. And then more recently, although cloud has been around for many years, COVID has really driven the transition to cloud, especially in hybrid working and complex projects working around the world. And finally, as we start to move to cloud platforms, we're starting to see the emergence of data as a currency. We're looking at APIs into these cloud platforms, looking at AI and other tools to advance that, and we heard some of those stories this morning. And a lot of our customers, a lot of the people we work with are trying to transition that either through a step process or skip some of those steps. Now, the interesting thing to note around here is the catalyst behind each of these transformations. Personal computers, downturn and mandates, COVID, And the last one, as Autodesk, we believe, is the emergence of the digitally enabled owner. Now, I heard Neil talk about this morning about some of those observations on the clients and on the owners. And we all know that there's a lot of challenges in the market today. Globalization, urbanization, climate change are amongst us. And the projects don't get any easier. We're seeing more complexity, shortage in labor. There's a real shortage of brain power in AEC, shrinkage in talent. And we're also seeing industry consolidation coming about. So my talk here today is about 4 key points. It's about digitizing, it's about connecting, about optimizing and evolving. And I'm not here as a subject matter expert, I'm here as a storyteller. Digitize, this is the first steps towards BIM. It's about transferring the technology into BIM, about moving those processes from analog to digital. And the benefits are there. We've seen some of them already this morning. Increased efficiency, streamlined workflows, and really the capacity to handle more complex projects. With this, I'll share a story from across the pond. Patrick, your neck of the woods. This is a story from the US, Georgia Tech, the Candida Fund, and Skanska. And if you haven't, I'd ask you to check out this project. It's one of the lead platinum projects in the world. Now, the team came together, they ran BIM. They ran all the BIM technologies from cost management to programming to modeling. And their key objective was to try and reuse 90 to 100% of the components all the way through to design to construction. They took BIM further. They used virtual reality software to do design reviews. They used drone technology, a complete BIM project throughout. And the advantages in this project was the delivery of net zero waste. So BIM does not, Digitize does not just exist in the context of new projects. We heard a lot of new projects starting this morning, but I want to take you to a project in Italy, Volterra. Now, this is a very historic town based on history, seen a lot of developments over the years, and we are working now with the team of archaeologists to use our technology to capture the historic asset data. We've seen more recently the damage that can be done by catastrophic events in our world. And the ability to capture this digitally, to retain this as part of our history, is also part of the use of technology. Here's an example of the Roman amphitheatre that's used, effectively scan captured and being used to not only look at how do we maintain that asset today, but also look back to its history in the progress of time. And again, another image from a scan capture, really looking at how do we transport that digital asset and bring it forward with the customer. So I talked about the first steps, digitize. The second step is all around connecting. And when we talk about connecting, we talk about the use of the cloud. The benefits of using the cloud are all around seamless collaboration throughout the life cycle, from design to construction to operation. We talk about managing risk. You know, taking the risk and making sure that it's diminished throughout the project, and the ability to move critical workflows into the cloud. Now, before the cloud, and my own experience from industry is that we worked with a lot of disparate data sources. We had files, we had emails, we had paper drawings, and it's very difficult to maintain continuity. Often work was done and redone throughout the context of the project. I want to take you here to a project. This is in India. This is the Bangalore International Airport. This project is being run globally, and planning is being done, led by SOM, the lead company for architectural planning and engineering. And they're using cloud-enabled technology to help drive the project forward. Again, the ambition for Bangalore International Airport is to reinvent the passenger experience. They want to take 82 million passengers by 2030 and deliver a lead platinum project. Now, Autodesk has worked with Billiald to turn and develop the workflow based on the use of the cloud and the transition from analog to digital. Although the members of the team were dispersed in many different offices, we were able to work with the team, moving the cloud, and effectively move 5,000 drawings up into the cloud in less than 6 months. The project works completely paperless. So coming back to home here in Europe, and we're here as a part of the buildingSMART openBIM conference. We're talking about a project in Germany. And this is a fairly complex project. It's a mixture of urban design, live railway, existing buildings. And the project team with Hochbau AG and OpenAI are able to use the cloud technology and import native file formats and openBIM to enable collaboration within the project. So we talked about digitize, we talked about connect. Now let's talk about optimize. As AEC firms become familiar with the technology, they begin to take a digital-first mindset. This allows them to optimize their practices in a way that connects people, workflows, and data. By viewing data as a resource that brings insights to their day-to-day decision-making, industry leaders can design with the outcomes in mind from the beginning of the project. Cloud-based project delivery, generative design, design for manufacturing assemble, all hold the promise to help our industry. Improve rates and client satisfaction, achieve more predictable results, improve project delivery for environmental performance, and reduce overall errors. Now, this is a project from Singapore. It's the Kelang Polyclinic and Long-Term Care Facility. The project's goal was to create a hybrid two-tier healthcare component in a single building. A polyclinic with a wide range of clinical facilities and a resident daycare facility. Now, as the project team came together, they realized the complexities of running two projects within one and really lent into the DMFMA process or design for manufacturing to enhance the project from a digital perspective. Bringing a DFMA approach into the BIM process brought a new level of coordination for the team, including shorter review cycles and more visibility via models, which were an in-depth view of each room. Prefabrication was perfectly suited for levels 6 to 9 of the building because of the regularity of each room's layout and use. In addition, the team managed to capture 100,000 assets in the documentation, such as the type of furniture, its location, and the serial number. Scripting was used to automate views of the layout for asset management and stakeholder approvals, saving the team more than 1,000 hours. With this approach, the project saw a 25% reduction in construction time and over 5,000 hours without sacrificing quality. So another story. We're here in Italy. I want to take you back, or take you to Florence. Now, if you go to Florence, you can find inscriptions in Florence about flood levels that go far back as 1177. But the worst flooding occurred in 1966, when over 200 millimeters of rain dropped within 24 hours. 1/4 of the region's annual rainfall. With no warning system in place, 600,000 tons of mud, rubble, and sewage mixed with heating oil inundated the city, claiming 100 lives and leaving 20,000 people homeless and ruining countless artifacts. Now let's look forward. There's a gentleman called Paolo Tamagnoni. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's a postgraduate candidate from the University di Firenze. And he saw an opportunity to apply his skills in the area of hydraulic modeling to help protect the cultural heritage of Florence from pluvial flooding. The biggest challenge for Paolo was what would happen inside the internal rainwater drainage network within the catacombs. Now, Paolo went and plumbed the depths of the archives. And he was able to uncover clues about the original construction of the sewer network designed by Fleming Chiesi. By running a digital drainage model, Paolo was able to understand that Fleming had thankfully built big with his original designs. The model showed that the internal rainwater drainage conduits were oversized and bigger than expected, almost as big as the largest city sewer network. The model showed that they could handle high density rainfall. So by simulating a whole range of different scenarios in a digital model, Paolo was able to determine which part of the city were at risk in the event of extreme rainfall. The opera was safe, but the library remained at risk. As a result, Paolo was able to offer the city a risk assessment and mitigation strategy to protect the library and the precious artifacts contained within. Oh. So we talked about the emergence of the digital owner. And here we've got two examples, one from Singapore and one from Japan, where there is a requirement to deliver in the IFC format. We've heard a lot of the advantages from our audience today. Many governments are now expecting to optimize the data they receive from project investments. It's good to know that openBIM is considered as the most appropriate and deliverable file format. I share these two examples here, where IFC has been stipulated as a deliverable as part of the owner's digital strategy, and where Autodesk has been able to deliver to meet the IFC standards for the design team and the supply chain. So let's talk about the final step about evolving. You know, as firms become more integrated in their practices, the benefit from the convergence of BIM-enabled technology with other systems is the future. These systems will learn more and more from each other, share insights, and be able to optimize the performance in real time and over time. This type of data-connected world centers around what we hear now as the digital twin, where every system becomes more and more connected and able to feedback operational information to inform the next design. When we get there, there will be all kinds of benefits to individual firms, to owners, to AEC industry, and the communities we serve. Benefits like design and data circularity, innovative business models, and new contract structures. Professional inspiration from renewed ability to bring bold thinking to complex challenges, and major leaps in environmental and operational performance. So let me share with you this example from Japan with the customer Takanaka Corporation, who recently collaborated with Mercedes-Benz to design the EQ House, a prototype structure located in Tokyo. This house demonstrates the possibilities of connecting mobility, information, and people seamlessly with AI, IoT, and BIM. This is a learning building, one that communicates with its inhabitants and learns their likes and dislikes. It reacts to their voices and movements of people, and it watches over the vehicle. It learns from their comfort and energy usage, and it shares information with other devices. Sensors throughout the house combine information infrastructure with the building space while providing an enormous amount of information. A weather station measures wind direction and speed, rainfall, atmospheric pressure, and sunlight. AI gathers insight from data and communicates with the building communication system, control the house, repeating the process in a continuous feedback loop. Glass walls can be electronically controlled to change transparency levels, and light and temperature can be operated by voice. In the future, what Takanaka is doing might be a prototype today, but is the business as usual as we get more smart. So my final story before the break, and this is back here in Italy with a company called Acea. Now you might know Acea. If you don't know, this company is a multi-utility company focused on waste, water, and energy. Acea engineering team are already on their digital journey, having deployed BIM technology and started their transition to the cloud. Acea are now working to develop new models and revenue streams. And one of them is the Acea Smart Comp mini plant. Simply put, these are micro factories located near shopping centres, restaurants and malls, and urban areas used to convert waste into fertiliser, addressing fully the concept of circular economy. To move from digitising processes to transforming our businesses and the spaces we live in, work and play, we all need access to be able to extend, customise and scale new capabilities through data. The 4 steps I've presented today, digitize, connect, optimize and evolve, are the building blocks for our customers. What I hope I've shown you are customer stories to help inspire you. They're customer stories from the AEC and built environment, transforming how they work with their owners to use data. And as they do that, they're creating new business models and offering new services to their ecosystem, reaping the benefits of digital transformation and innovating around the big challenges like sustainability at the same time. I hope you agree these stories are inspirational. Now, as I said, I'm not the subject matter expert. I'm here purely as a storyteller. As Autodesk, we really want to ask for you to come and meet us. You know, we've got many of my colleagues in the audience and we'll be around for the next couple of days. And I want to thank you again for inviting us today and thank you for your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul. That was fantastic. And I think Evandro mentioned earlier that the Romans didn't prove that they did this, but it looks like we can retrospectively start to digitize the roads that they laid. So that's great. I think also what was nice there was talking about the digitally enabled owner. And I think this is something that we really believe in at buildingSMART International, that owner-driven mandates and things that were mentioned earlier will provide this change that we're looking so much forward to. And that's really exciting. So we won't keep you much longer. We're only 5 minutes over, so we're going to break now for 30 minutes for coffee. That does mean we'll come back here at 11:35, I think. That's correct. So for those online as well, please note we'll take a 30-minute break now, so please enjoy. Thank you very much to all the speakers.